Welcome back to Friday Lunch Break, a series where we make Friday work from home lunches just a little bit more fun and a little bit more delicious. But hey, it's almost the weekend, so why not start early? Today we're pairing Wendy's Biggie Bag with a 2003 King Maui Pinot Noir from Marlborough, New Zealand. Now let's see if this fast food favorite can hang out with one of New Zealand's top reds. Before we grab the food, let's get a little bit more acquainted with the wine. The King Maui Pinot Noir comes from one of New Zealand's most famous wine regions, a place known for cool ocean breezes, long sunny days, the perfect climate for growing Pinot Noir. There's one more thing that we have to do before we head out the door. Let's place this bottle in an ice bath so it'll help get down the temperature. Alright, time to grab Wendy's Biggie Bag. For those of you unfamiliar with this meal, it's a choice of chicken sandwich or a hamburger, regular chicken nuggets or spicy nuggets, a small fry, and a small drink for all around $5, which I think is a very fair deal. We are back in our domicile and I'm ready to dig in. But as usual, let's unbag this feast. First we got a crispy chicken sandwich, then we got spicy nuggets, finally of course those famous Wendy's fries. It's all plated up and looking way better than a drive-thru meal should. Now for the wine. The ice bath has definitely done its job. For a Pinot Noir, you are generally looking for a serving temperature of between 55 and 60 degrees Fahrenheit. This helps enhance the aroma, the notes, and the complexities of the wine, while also smoothing out the alcohol. Let's start by pouring a small taster to check out the color. This is something that I've started doing lately, just to observe the differences in color between wines. This one has a light ruby hue, and it's almost translucent, and it's very clear, which tells me that this wine is filtered, young, fresh, and vibrant, a classic cool climate Pinot Noir, and it is easy drinking and a friendly red wine. Now we can give it a little swirl and take a big sniff. On the nose, I get red cherries, raspberries, strawberries, a little bit of spice, and maybe even a little touch of earthiness, so that it's not a complete fruit bomb. On the palate, it's smooth, light-bodied, and has some bright acidity. King Maui is made by the same team behind the well-known Kona Wines, a family of Maui-owned wineries that focus on sustainable growing and authentic New Zealand expressions. Alright, time to pour a full glass and dig in. Pouring wine into a glass is a sight I never get tired of seeing. The table is set. Wendy's Biggie Bag, a glass of King Maui Pinot Noir, and a Friday that has officially started off on a great start. I have high hopes for this sandwich, but I'm not too sure about the barbecue sauce or the fries. Let's first start off with this chicken sandwich. It's crispy, savory, and just the right amount of spice from the black pepper and the coating mix. The wine's acidity balances it out perfectly. The Pinot's cherry and raspberry notes bring out the sweetness in the bun and contrast the salty crunch. Now for the spicy nugs. Okay, they were a bit too much for the wine. The spice definitely overpowered the lighter body of this Pinot Noir, and I think regular nuggets would have been a perfect fit, but I went with my intentions of usually going for spicy foods. And finally, the fries, which were surprisingly a hit. The salt and the crunch worked very nicely with this wine's fruitiness, and it really balanced out everything. Let's talk about this region just a little bit more. Marlborough isn't just about Sauvignon Blanc. It's one of the fastest growing Pinot Noir regions in the Southern Hemisphere. New Zealand as a whole, Pinot Noir is the second most planted grape in the country, behind the Kiwis' beloved Sauvignon Blanc, with about 14,000 acres of planted grapevines. Over 70% of New Zealand's grapes are grown in the Marlborough region, and more vineyards are experimenting with Pinot Noir every year. Fun fact, New Zealand has a combination of being the most southerly and easternly grown vineyards in the world. Another fun fact, during the summer growing season, New Zealand receives a higher level of UV light, up to 30 to 40% more compared to other growing countries. This UV light helps ripen the fruit and create a more distinct New Zealand-style Pinot Noir dark grape. Although New Zealand is considered a popular wine-growing region, they are still very young in their wine traditions, with the most popular region starting to produce wine in the 1970s and the 1980s. Which is even more impressive that New Zealand is the 14th most wine-producing country in the world. But their wine roots go back centuries, with the first recorded vineyard planted in 1819, while the first recorded wine was produced in 1836. Today, New Zealand's winemakers focus on clean, fruit-forward styles with a balance of natural acidity thanks to the previously mentioned higher UV light exposure. Perfect for casual meals just like this. King Maui in particular is part of the new wave of New Zealand wines that combine tradition with approachability. It's a bottle that's easy to enjoy no matter what's on your plate. Now it's time to get back to work, and we continue our tradition of being a part of the Clean Plate, Empty Glass Club, and I'd call that a successful Friday. Thanks for hanging out with me on this Friday lunch break. Hopefully you enjoyed it and learned something along the way. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more fun food drink pairings, and let me know in the comments what I should try next Friday. Until then, cheers, and I hope you have a great weekend.